Have you ever considered having a side gig as a programmer? Well, have all of your questions answered about the hows and whys of moonlighting from YouTuber, author, and all-around content creator Joshua Morony as he joins this episode of the Dev.Life Podcast. Josh shares his experiences, tips and suggestions for getting started, time management, staying motivated, client interactions, and some stuff about Einstein. What better way to learn than from a pro? Don't just code to live. Come enjoy the Dev Life.
Hello, Angular community. I'm Jeff Cross, the CEO of Narwhal. We're proud to partner with the podcast to highlight the people who are doing great things in the Angular community. Narwhal has been a leader in the Angular community since Victor Safkin and I left the Angular team at Google to start the company back in 2016. Now we're joined by other leaders in the Angular community, including open source maintainers and Angular GDEs. We're also the proud creators and maintainers of the popular build framework NX. We work alongside Angular development teams to help them solve big organizational and architectural challenges, and to help their engineers develop a deeper understanding of Angular and NX in the process. If Narwhal can help your team move faster and level up, reach out at nrwl.io.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Nichol, Angular GDE and all-around Angular lover, and I'm here to talk about Kendo UI for Angular. It's a UI library designed and built specifically for Angular. It includes over 100 professional UI components that are fully accessible, easily integrate into existing design systems, and, of course, backed by our legendary technical support team. The UI components range from things like data grid and scheduler to form elements, date pickers, and dropdowns, all within one library. See the full list and demos at kendoui.com.
All right, welcome everyone to the Dev.Life Podcast. I'm Erik, and with me is Brooke.
Hey everyone.
And we are joined with video and content creator Josh Morony.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Do people still refer to it as the land down under, or is that sort of like an old phrase?
I mean, people still say it. I don't hear it that often. Obviously, we don't really talk about it here, but definitely comes up. I think it's still definitely valid. You can use it.
Okay.
I have to ask, because I don't think I've asked any of our other like Australian or New Zealand friends, but do you have Tim Tams? Like, I know they're there, but do you eat them?
I mean, I don't eat them that much. They're like one of those things along with Vegemite and I don't know, a couple other things where it's like, yeah, that's like the Australian thing. And if like Americans want some snacks, it's Tim Tams. But I probably have Tim Tams like once every 2 or 3 years or something, but they are really, really good.
Is it kind of like an Oreo to an American?
It's, well, I don't know, like culturally maybe, yeah. But it's very different to an Oreo, though. It's like just very chocolatey. It's like chocolate within chocolate, kind of wafery as well.
Oh, they're cool. Like when I was living in Canada, it was easy because they're not that easy to find in America. Actually, like you have to go to a specialty store. But in Canada, they import a lot of like European foods and stuff. And Erik, it's like this, like Josh was just saying, it's like a wafer that's covered with chocolate. But what we would do, and you probably do this, Josh, is like you'd bite off the end on like both ends of this little wafer, and then you'd dunk just a little bit into some milk, and you'd like slurp it up, and it would like crumble as it would go in your mouth.
That's the thing you're supposed to do with it, but I find that super awkward to do. But maybe I'm just bad at it. But
no, it definitely is. It's like all over your face when you're done.
Yeah.
You know, I try to eat cookies like that, in cookies and milk, and the cookie just like always falls into the milk, and I'm like, ew, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, that's like cereal though. Like I've never been the type of person that like loves to just put a ton of milk on my cereal because it makes it soggy, and I don't want soggy cereal. I want it crunchy, you know, like
you got to eat it really fast before it gets soggy.
Yeah, but how much fun is that? Like, oh, it's gone in 2 seconds. Like, I don't know. Anyway, wow, that was super derailed.
This is your fault, Brooke.
Sorry.
Well, hey, thank you, Josh, for putting up with Brooke. But we're really excited to have you on the show today, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I know we got a little bit delayed, but I've been really looking forward to being on here. So yeah, I'm happy to have a chat with you guys.
We had to reschedule because we had him scheduled the week we were at NGConf. And when I realized that, I was like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
So we rescheduled.
Yeah. I was super jealous. I would love to go to NGConf. So maybe one day.
Next year, put in the CFP and I'll root for you. Like
submit like 4 or 5 talks and
maybe I'll do it.
It's like a game of soccer. If you shoot enough times, you're gonna score. Sorry, a game of football. Sorry. Well, listeners, today we brought Josh on to hopefully help us explore this idea of having a side gig and doing some freelance work on the side of your full-time job. And hopefully this will give you some idea of what that's like, how maybe if you are hurting for cash or for some growth that your full-time opportunity is not allowing for, then maybe you can find that in this. So Josh, as a salaried developer turned full-time content creator himself, we're hoping that he's got some thoughts, some advice on the pros and cons of side gigs. Maybe that'll help enlighten some of you.
Nice. I'm excited. Yeah, I think, and we've had Martine and Michael Dowden on the show before to talk about like creating content and the different kinds of content that you can produce and put out there. But I like how this is a little bit of a different spin on that, because specifically we're really wanting to dive into like, if you're an everyday salaried developer, how can this fit into your life and why would you want it to, because I think there's a lot of people who love to share and teach, but it's hard to know like how to go about that and how to fit it into their schedule. So Josh is like a pro at this, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Well, before we dive into that, we like to get to know our guests a little bit, especially for those of you who haven't met Josh or who haven't yet cracked open his amazing YouTube videos. Let's get to know him a bit through our game of the day, which is the Roundup. Cue the awesome sound effects. I hope there's more horses this time. And Josh, just so you know, we pose a question for all of us to answer. This is a great opportunity for us to just chat and learn about something. We'll probably go pretty quick on this since we already randomly chatted about whatever Brooke wanted to talk about. I'm giving you such a hard time, but so here's the question, and let's see if we have some good answers. If you had a friend or group of friends come visit your city for the first time ever, and you could only take them to do one thing, what would you go do with them and why?
So there's a story behind this question too, because this happened to me for NG Comp when we had all these people. Remember, like I used to work for NG Comp, and so I was meeting all these incredible people, but like we've had so long of being online and not being able to meet people and go to the conference in person. So we finally all came together, and we had this great group of developers like Adi and Marcus, who's way over in Sweden, and like all these cool people. And they were like, hey, let's go hang out. And my buddy Jason Warner, who helped us on our Ask Me Anything episode, he and I were like, well, what do we go do? We don't know what to take him to go do. And the problem too is that like you're kind of constrained by time and like size of the car and all of this. So like take all of that away. If you didn't have to worry about time or money or the size of your car, what would you take people to go and see and do in Adelaide, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's a tough one because Adelaide has a reputation of being like the boring city out of like all the ones in Adelaide. People say not to go to Adelaide because there's nothing to do and it's boring, but we do have lots of cool stuff. Like we don't have lots of like cool like nightlife things or anything like that, but it's a very sort of chill kind of place. We got like the sort of wine regions, and we go to the beach a lot here. We have super nice beaches, like a long esplanade along the beach. You can just walk for ages. So maybe we'd head to the beach and just chill out at the beach, or depending how far you want to go. If you want to drive a couple hours inland, you start getting into the, sort of outbacky kind of areas, which, if people are coming to Australia, they probably want to see some outback kind of stuff. So if you want to go for a little bit of a drive, then yeah, maybe up towards Flinders Ranges. There's some nice campsites and just that sort of really sort of stereotypical Australian outback red dirt, that kind of stuff. So
do they have
more realistically, we'd probably be heading down to the beach.
Okay. Are there kangaroos? Just like, see, that's
like I live more towards the coast in a more kind of like urban-y kind of area, so there's not like heaps of kangaroos around, but like you do get the odd kangaroo. And just like maybe if I drive 20 minutes, like my wife's sister lives a little bit more in the hills here, and yeah, they will be around, and they are a hazard. They will hop out on the road as you're driving along 80 kilometers an hour, and yeah, So we've had a few run-ins. We haven't hit a kangaroo before, and especially because we actually drove all the way around Australia as well. So we were sort of fortunate not to really have any serious accidents. But yeah, they're around and they will, wreck your car if you're not careful.
They're like deer in America.
I know. Yeah.
Pretty much. So they'll just kind of jump out of nowhere. Same sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, that's so interesting. I thought it was going to turn into a joke there, but no, this is real. Watch out for kangaroos if you're in Australia.
But the Australian beach sounds awesome. Now, okay, quick question on that too, because if you go to England, for example, a lot of their beaches are like larger pebbles and things. It's not what a lot of people think of with like a sandy white beach. So what are the beaches like there in Australia?
Like the beaches are generally like, they look great. They're the sort of beaches you would imagine, and especially around Adelaide. I feel like we don't have good surfing beaches like around, at least where I am, very flat waves, but it's very, very sandy beaches, very nice looking beaches. And I like our beaches because if you go further north in Australia, you get into things like they have what's it called? The irukandji, like jellyfish stuff. And up north, they have saltwater crocodiles you have to watch out for. But in Adelaide, you can pretty much swim in the ocean and it's fine. Obviously, we have great whites, but they're super rare. So yeah, probably we have nice beaches that are kind of safe. So I'll take that.
Yeah, definitely.
Bring my kids over there. That sounds great.
All right, Erik, how about you? And Erik, I think like you've kind of grown up in a couple places. You grew up.
I was actually going to go do San Antonio and Austin, Texas.
Okay, all right.
Because I figured you had Utah covered, right?
I don't know about that.
Because I'm terrible at finding a place to take friends when they come to Utah. I'm like, I like the roads. Right. And they're like, that's so lame. Like, we're going to have somebody else. Utah. Well, I hate the roads in Texas, by the way. Texas is terrible for driving, and it just takes so long to drive anywhere in Texas because it's big. But my favorite place in Texas is San Antonio and Austin, especially Austin. So if you ever get the chance, any of you listeners or you, Josh, or you, Brooke, to go visit Austin anytime soon, there's some really great stuff you should check out. One reason why you might be in Austin is for the South by Southwest Music Festival, which is so fun. They've always got really cool bands playing there, and you're going to have a great time. You might also love the wildlife. Austin is known as the weird town, and they keep Austin weird is sort of a thing.
They like a lot about you.
Adelaide is sister cities with Austin.
There you go.
Cool. That's how I know they keep Austin weird slogan. Yeah.
It's so green. There's lots of trees, lots of there's peacock places. There's places where you can go, there's a lot of Japanese tea gardens and all kinds of little fun, interesting places to go visit. And they have tons of concerts just all the time there. And then they have the bats you can see once they're migrating. And then San Antonio has, of course, this famously historic place called the Alamo, where there's this standoff between Americans and Mexican troops, and it didn't end well for the Americans, but it is sort of this remember the Alamo kind of thing. You go see the fort and learn more about the history of early America. There's also Six Flags, SeaWorld. So if you want to see great whites that aren't trying to eat you, then go check out San Antonio. Something you might not expect, there's something called the River Walk in San Antonio. You can go walk along this beautiful river, and there's tons of shops and venues and just interesting place. So it's both are really great for kind of nightlife stuff. So go check it out if you're ever in Texas. What about
down in the heart of Texas? Is that what that song is?
It's deep in the heart of Texas. Yeah.
There we go. Well, deep in the heart of Utah. All the things, there's actually a lot to do. I think people underestimate how many cool things there are to do in Utah, especially along the Salt Lake. We call it the Wasatch Front. These are the Wasatch Mountains. But I'm going to go with, because I have to choose one, so I won't list everything, but if